Good morning, everyone. I would like to start with a quote of C. Everett Koop. Life affords no greater responsibility, no greater privilege than the raising of the next generation. This is the big responsibility bestowed on both parents and teachers. That is the reason why we regularly connect with you to talk, discuss about children's grooming and education. I, Sonali Prakash, would like to extend a very warm welcome to all of you for today's session on the 3 R's: reset, realign, and restart, so that we can begin the new session with an optimistic approach. Till date, so much speculation exists about living with this pandemic, and we have been discussing a lot about it. Every day, a new update. But despite all this, one thing has not stopped: learning. Today, we have come together on this virtual platform to discuss opening of the session, the mode of education, do's and don'ts, how to handle children, preparations, etc., etc. It has been a tough time for all of us, but we together have sailed through it and will continue the same. Today, to grace the occasion, we have with us our Principal cum Director, Mrs. Manju Rana. Manju ma'am is a recipient of the National Award to Teachers by the President of India in 2019. She has been associated with St. Anandram Jaipuria School since its inception, and under her dynamic leadership, the school has grown to such heights and reached the present position of #1 school in Ghaziabad. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
To give an answer to all your questions and solve all your queries, as a panelist, we have with us our very experienced Mrs. Indu Kohli, Headmistress Primary Wing. Indu ma'am exemplifies the ideal of a rare mentor who lives and breathes to improve the life of her students and colleagues. She has been a part of the school right from its inception and has contributed immensely for its growth and development. Along with her, it's a pleasure to introduce Mrs. Kabila Rawat, pre-primary coordinator, who has been with our institution for over 16 years. Mrs. Rawat has been a standing pillar of our school. Her love and fondness for the children has been the driving force for creating a strong foundation for the children here at Jaipur. We have with us Miss Hina Sharma, a parent who has been associated with the institution for the last 4 years. She is here among us to put up a few common queries on behalf of the parents. Welcome, Hina ji. I would also like to introduce the school counselor, Miss Vardha, who has more than 11 years of experience in the field of mental health and has worked with different age groups at various schools, colleges, and universities. She has published a research paper in an international journal on the topic of optimism and resilience. Welcome, Vardha ma'am. Now over to you, Vardha ma'am.
Thank you so much, Sonali ma'am, for such a warm welcome. Give me a moment till the time I share my screen. Vijay sir, please share the rights of sharing the screen.
Yeah, ma'am, please.
So good morning, everybody present here. I am sure that everybody is very keen and eager to know and understand how we are going to reopen and rather open up for the new session, and a lot of things are there in everybody's mind over here. So, as Winston Churchill once said, that I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught. The children of today are on the same page as Mr. Churchill. They enjoy learning to the fullest and do not like being taught always. Rather, they prefer to explore their own on their own, and the teachers just need to trigger their curiosity in the right direction. But the scenario of schools totally changed in 2020. And therefore, to begin the new session of 2021, We, the school, came up with this web discussion to enable parents to reset their priorities, realign themselves and children, and to restart as the new session begins. Although we understand that no one knows what the future has in store for us, we may need to opt for the continuation of online education for a few more months, or can opt for hybrid learning mode in which few students will attend classes in school and few will attend it from home or online. As teacher, we would always prefer the presence of children in the classrooms, as it gives us opportunity to interact with them in face-to-face mode and to be able to understand and reach out to them emotionally. Last option is opening of the schools for regular schooling, but that cannot happen unless the government and MHRD department permits it along with state governments. But the most important aspect of this entire discussion will depend upon the readiness of the parent as well as of the children who are willing to follow the rules at the ground level. We would like to know your opinion on the interest of your child. Let us find it out through a poll. You would find the link of the poll. Yeah, there it is. Okay. All right, we'll keep a few more seconds. So I believe most of you think that the children are excited and keen about coming to school. So we are really glad to hear that. And yes, we would like to know your opinion on the same, Ritu ma'am.
I'm not surprised to see that the answer is yes. Children are excited and keen to come to the school. A new session starts with so many new things: new classmates, new books, new classes, new school supplies, new teachers, classrooms, and even a new school for some. You can start with a clean slate and even completely reinvent yourself. It's a bit like celebrating New Year Eve in the middle of the calendar year, complete with new hope, new dreams, and maybe one or two new resolutions. Getting into school routine can be difficult adjustment at first, but think about how far you have come since school and life was disturbed by COVID-19, and how you and your child have been able to adapt to the new normal of staying and learning from home. There may be few bumps at first, but you will get there. And even the teachers are looking forward to meet our dear students, as it is fun connecting with them and teaching learning becomes enjoyable.
Thank you so much, Indu ma'am.
Martha, can I take up this question?
Sure.
Yeah. Sending their children to the school, and that's okay. I mean, we do understand that, and please, if you write in the chat box, Mr. Naveen, that how do you know that the results are true? These are all computerized. And a trust between a school and the parents is an extreme importance. First of all, we need to understand, and we're not going to fudge any document or any data. So that's to answer some of the.
There seems to be some network issue, I believe. All right. We would get back. We would wait for a few more minutes, maybe a minute or so. Yes, ma'am, please go ahead.
Yeah, there was some internet issue. Yeah, and we do understand that in case you do not want, see, online classes, we're not going to stop online classes. We are going to have online classes, and but we are also going to make sure that in case any parent wants to send their child to the school, we are also open for opening the school also, right? So there are certain parents who also say that their they want their children to be sent to the school, because in some cases both the parents are working now. The offices have opened up. They are all going to offices. So in that case, a lot of parents have also approached. So we are not going to force you. So it is your decision that we respect your decision completely, but we also have to give option to other parents also, right? Because it's a large school, the number per class is huge. There would be some who are willing to send, some who are willing to take it online, and we completely will abide by. But it cannot happen that one day you send a child for an offline class, another day you send a child for an offline class. So in case you are not interested in an online offline class, you can send an application to the teacher saying that we want it, an online class, so we can shift your child to an online class. But then that online class will run for about 15 days, and in case you change your mind, it can only be taken up after 15 days, because otherwise it will be very difficult for us to maintain the attendance of the child. And I just hope that I am able to, answer to some of the queries, right? Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I am sure this has given a lot of clarity to a lot of parents, since we have been receiving a lot of queries about parents saying that how can we send our children to the offline school at this point of time. So, since we know that the children and teachers are equally excited about the opening of the school, but the parent preparedness is the most crucial aspect of this entire scenario. The parents are still apprehensive about the children's ability to follow protocols and maintain social distancing, and we at school can understand the base of their apprehension. That was clearly seen as ma'am spoke. We all are scared that maintaining the social distancing will be the most challenging task for children. They haven't been able to socialize enough earlier, but if schools reopen, they will easily forget about the COVID and try to go back to the life that they led earlier. Children tend to forget and make up with their friends with whom they fight, forgetting the past. How can we expect them to realize the seriousness of the situation, such as COVID, and follow the rules? Such and many such questions are arising in your mind, and we are all doubting the child's ability to follow the rules. But we cannot discount the power of a teacher's instruction. Instructions of teacher, along with stories, discussion, puppet show, and peer interaction, assimilate with each other to create a powerful environment around children through which they tend to learn and follow. I remember a child in my neighborhood a very long time ago learned to pronounce a word in an incorrect manner just because he was taught that way by somebody. The teachers also tend to handle children according to their psyche. They know when to monitor the child, when to discipline the child, and when to train them. Yet, I admit it is a long walk and not a one-day task. And even as teachers, will not be able to do this without the cooperation from the parents. Therefore, we plan a discussion like this. The connect between a parent and a teacher is the most important partnership for a long inning and against the battle of odds. So let us team up and prepare the kids for the unforeseeable future in which they need to survive and thrive just like us. This brings us to the next point to think about, and that is about the psychological preparedness of the parents. I understand that the psychological preparedness is as good as walking on a burning fire. It is really difficult to let the children be out of the house and leave the secure zone or premises. Yet the new normal seems to be here to stay, and we all have gotten used to it. The kids may also need to learn the same. But before the kids learn it, we need to check how ready are we to let them be in that particular frame of mind. It is we who first need to accept that the kids have to get out of their secure zone either today or tomorrow. This doesn't mean that I am or any of us is forcing you to send your ward to school, but at least let us all accept that we need to prepare them for the same. And we are taking children out of the houses these days. We let them play with their playmates, maintaining utmost security. Living in the same vicinity of Vasundhara and Indrapuram, I come across many children who accompany their parents somewhere or the other. But are we reiterating the SOP or protocol whenever the children are supposed to get out of the home? Are we really prepared to teach them and let them learn to maintain social distancing, wearing masks all the time, and washing hands frequently? The media has been blazing with the advertisements which project the SOP. Are we discussing them enough with our child so that he or she can follow the same when out of the house? The ideal way of washing hands, use of sanitizer, use of masks, and social distancing have been impacting children equally as it impacted adults. I agree that adults will remember it better than children, but for how long will we be able to keep them from socializing or playing or any other physical activity? Yes, जान है तो जहान है, लेकिन जान अगर जेल में हो तो जहान ज्यादा प्यारा लगता है. So we need to step up and be ready to at least let our children understand and learn the SOP and get out of the houses under the supervision of parents or adults. Independent learning is another aspect of parental preparedness. Let us understand it through a small video.
Creating independence around homework is a very important responsibility, unless you want to go to the second grade, and the fourth grade, and the seventh grade, and all over again. Children will naturally.
I think you need to increase the sound.
Partly because maybe they don't have.
Vardha, you need to increase the sound, please.
Okay, ma'am.
Also because they were.
It's not audible.
All right, ma'am. Give me a moment, please. I'll do that.
Creating independence around homework is a very important responsibility for a parent, unless you want to go to the second grade and the fourth grade and the seventh grade all over again. Children will naturally try to suck you in, partly because maybe they don't have confidence in the assignment, and also because they may want to spend time with you. But this is a dangerous thing to do. Homework should be the independent functioning of your child, and what you do is encourage the child that they can do it independently. If a child comes to you and says, I haven't the vaguest idea of what I should write my report about, instead of jumping in and giving him 3 great suggestions, your task to be a responsible parent is to say, I bet you could think of something all by yourself. Why don't you go to your room, come up with 2 or 3 ideas, and then let's share it with me. So what you really want to do is every time a child tries to involve you is disengage and encourage the child to be able to function independently.
So, children tend to involve their parents in their homework at times and in their classwork too. How many of you remember your child looking at you for the answer when the teacher has asked question to the child? Please type yes or no in the chat box. This especially increased during the online education as children knew that the parent will answer for them. I agree that no one likes to see that their child doesn't know answer of something. But don't we learn well only when we fail at certain things? Let me ask you a question. How many of you could drive a car extremely smooth as you drove it for the first time. I am sure many of us learned to see the rear view mirror only after some not so good experience. The same applies to making a roti or a food item. We learn as we commit mistakes and overcome them. So let children be independent. Let them learn through their own mistakes. And believe me, we are there to handle their mistakes if they seek our help. And many times, even when they don't. As a psychologist, the first thing which we were taught in the counseling is that you cannot help someone unless they want to help themselves. But the person realizes that he or she needs help only when we give them an opportunity to realize the same. So let your child first try to resolve their problems by themselves, then realize that they need some help, and at last that they will always have their parents to back them up. Moving on, we also need to impart some rules before the child enters the next grade, and that can be done through few techniques. So the first technique is being consistent. We need to be consistent in whatever we are communicating with the child. So let us say today watching half an hour of TV is okay, then it needs to be okay tomorrow and in coming foreseeable future too. So being consistent is key number one. Next is provide reasons for good behavior. So when we are appreciating some good behavior, we need to provide a reason that why we are appreciating that behavior to be a good behavior. Many times we just appreciate and let the child be, but then what is the good thing that we like in that behavior is very important to be pointed out so that child understands that this can be repeated in future. Next is many times it happens that the child gets angry, the parent gets angry, and then they try to communicate with each other. But at that point of time, it's really difficult to sustain our attention, sustain the attention of the child for us. So let us separate each other. Let us calm ourselves down. Let the child calm himself or herself down. After that, we can definitely have the child's entire attention. Go back to the child's level, make an eye-to-eye contact, have your child's entire attention, and then discuss what went wrong and what could have been done in better manner. Next is condoning unacceptable behavior. Many times we condone unacceptable behavior again without giving reason. So it's very important that we have to give reason for the unacceptable behavior. Many times what happens is consciously or unconsciously we tend to, just because a mistake has been committed, we do not look out for the reason why the mistake was committed. So we also need to do that. And of course, many of us understand that when we always know that when the child is willing to manipulate us, and I'm sure you must have had some experience wherein you knew that you are being manipulated by the child, and consciously you let the child manipulate yourself. So for the rules to be followed religiously, we need to incorporate some time for the child to play in open areas such as garden or ground. And before we could do that, we must start by setting up a schedule for the child. So let us watch a small video on the same.
Structure is all the things we do in our homes to make our children feel safe and comfortable. Routines can help us add structure to our homes.
Structure definitely helps kids feel safe and secure because it helps them understand what's coming next. It helps make their lives more predictable.
There are 4 steps to creating a routine. Step 1. Identify a routine that works for your family. Think of all the things that should be part of the routine and in what order they should occur. It may be helpful to create routines around key times of the day, such as getting ready for bed or meal times. Keep in mind that the routine should work for the whole family and not just your child.
So it is important that we take time as parents and make a plan or a schedule or structure, something that we agree on, so that, again, in the moment, that makes it easier to access those particular strategies that you as parents want to use.
Step 2. Explain the routine. Make sure your child knows what you want him to do and when you want him to do it. Simple charts with pictures can help your child remember what to do. Young children may also need to be told and reminded what to do. Step 3. Follow the routine. Your child may not always want to follow the routine, especially when it means ending playtime or going to bed. It may also be difficult for you as a parent to always follow the routine. It may be harder when you are tired or stressed. Whenever possible, stick to the routine. This will help your child know what you want and do what you ask.
Kids will challenge and test structure, and I think part of parenting is thinking about what's happening and why it's happening. And sometimes kids will challenge structure or refuse to do something to kind of test a system.
Step 4. Use consequences. If your child resists following the routine, remind him there may be a consequence. For instance, say, if you don't come to the dinner table, you will not have playtime tonight. You can also try rewarding your child for following the routine. Be consistent with the routine and let your child know you expect it to be followed. A tip to keep in mind when using structure: just because you have a routine doesn't mean that you can't be flexible and do other things when something comes up. When the routine changes, let your child know about the change. This will help your child know what is happening and what you want them to do.
It's this balance between creating structure and not creating a level of rigidity that doesn't allow kids to explore, that doesn't allow for unexpected things to happen either to you or to your kid.
Having structure helps your child understand what you want him to do, which can lead to good behavior.
I believe Indu ma'am had something to say on this. Indu ma'am, you have raised your hand. All right. Moving on. So I am sure that most of you are following and have already planned a schedule for your child. But it is important to give some kind of predictability to the child's life, to have some schedules or routines. Make sure that you include some me time in the child's schedule so that the child learns to do something of his or her own choice, but that does not involve any kind of screen. This will not only give an opportunity to the child to develop independence, but will also enhance the creative thinking and introspection in the child. Moving on to the next slide. Let us go ahead for a small poll on the basis of social skills. So all these are necessary skills for social interaction, such as introspection, creativity, and communication skills. So we have already taken up the poll of this question as well. Although I believe we have been given the results. Just a second, let me, yeah. Okay, all right. So 67% of you think that the social skills have been getting lost for the children, especially during the online education. So yeah, let us go ahead and see one person, a parent, has a similar concern, and they have asked a question to us. The question is that my child is an introvert and he is more and more into shell, as he hasn't not interacted face to face with many children of his age. How can I help him come out of his shell? I guess Kavila ma'am can answer that question for us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Varda. And I would love to answer this question. Like, in case your child is an introvert and he is on his own most of the time, doesn't like to interact with many children, I think it becomes our duty to help him out as parents or as elders. So it is very important that we never force our children to do things which they don't enjoy doing. In fact, if there is something which needs to be done, we need to actually sit with them, explain it to them, and guide them as to how those things have to be done. We need to talk to them about their fears to help them come out of it. We should never show our frustration or be angry if the child is refusing to be engaged with others. We should try and get engaged with them by playing games, talking to them, watching movies, spending quality time with the children, having meals together. Always praise your child's little efforts to develop their self esteem. Try enrolling them in activity classes where they can actually meet children so that they get a chance to interact. The more they socialize, the more early they would make friends. Make them confident, let them do their small things on their own, like choosing their own dress, buttoning their own shirt, wearing their own shoes independently. And when children actually start attending school, they interact with their peer group, which motivates them and enhances their confidence level. So we have activities like circle time, which gives a feeling of belonging next to the children. So it is very important for us as parents to accept our children the way they are. Thank you so much.
Amazing answer. Amazing answer. Thank you so much, Kavila ma'am, for really giving that wonderful answer. So moving on to the last slide of my presentation today. Okay. Let us talk about certain things that we need to practice as we are ready to step up in the new academic year, but be it through online mode or through offline mode of education. Since we are all aware that the offline education has basic requirement of writing and the online education has challenged that habit of children. So first and foremost, we need to let the children understand and practice their writing skills for at least 15 minutes a day. Do you remember our teachers used to give us handwriting practice in our childhood? We were supposed to write a big paragraph in good handwriting. Likewise, please introduce some writing practice. Next is the maintenance of social distancing, in which children can be told that they cannot let anyone enter in the perimeter of their stretched arms. And if someone tries to do that, we need to step away. The children will get opportunity to improve their connect with their teachers as well as their peers. They can do so by following instructions, seeking permissions, etc. During online education, children used to eat even during the classes, but that cannot happen in the offline education. Offline education will also help children develop the independence in work, which we discussed earlier. Lastly, the children will learn to work in collaboration with their peers and understand the importance of team spirit and teamwork. Let us go to the online mode of education. In online mode of education, the most important thing is setting up a place for study. So what we need to do is that we need to provide a specific place for study to the children. It preferably has a white or lighter color background so that the other children do not get distracted. Make sure that your child is having the background of wall, because otherwise what happens is that the family members keep passing through behind and that distracts the other children as well. Lastly, it's very important to have a set up place which is well lit and has a computer screen or whichever screen the child prefers at the 30-degree angle of their eyes. The place should be well lit so that the child's eyes do not get as affected. The place should have some greenery surrounded around it so that the child can look at it and relax his or her own eyes. We also need to plan and integrate at least 30 minutes of physical activity in the child's daily schedule. The child must understand that there are certain times for eating and other purposes, and therefore the scheduling is very important. The child should be able to mute themselves and wait for his or her own turn to speak in an online class. The child needs to be independent in learning and needs to try answering questions on his own, as discussed earlier. Lastly, the child needs to develop an optimistic attitude towards learning, since many of us tend to take it in a relaxed manner, since we are doing it from the comfort of our home. But what is important is that learning still remains learning, and we need to be totally attentive while doing that. The child also needs to understand how to express themselves online through emojis or through other communication techniques. And for that, the most important thing is that they need to keep their camera on throughout all their interactions. That is it from my end. Over to you, Sonali ma'am.
Very informative. Thank you, Varda ma'am, for this session. In continuation with what Varda ma'am said, for more clarity, I would like to take you through the SOPs, the standard operating procedures adapted by the school in view of this pandemic, along with the various learning programs that the school is running for the students to provide them an effective teaching learning experience. I think this will be an answer to many, many questions which are already there in the chat box related to what is the school, what are the measures the school has taken for reopening, and how will we make sure that proper protocols are being followed. So I think this will, to a certain extent, answer your questions. So we have always discussed the negative aspects of this pandemic in our lives. But every bad, negative thing or situation teaches us something positive. Because of this global crisis, we have realized how important is environment, nature to us, the importance of hygiene. We have developed good eating habits. We have become more empathetic towards our surroundings, towards other people. We have learned how to show gratitude, be more creative, have developed mindfulness. This pandemic has developed mindfulness in each one of us. A lot of safety measures and practices have been followed in the school, right from transportation to the school premises, be it entry and exit plans, safety at the reception, in corridors, inside classrooms. To start with the transport, the buses will be disinfected before and after plying on their regular routes. The buses will run only with 50% capacity and diagonal seating. It will be mandatory for children to wear masks and remain seated. There will be assigned staff to look after in the buses so that these protocols are being followed. To avoid crowding at the gate, multiple gates will be used for entry and exit. Different blocks will be using different entry and exit gates. Mandatory thermal screening and sanitization, including feet sanitization, will be there at all the gates. Social distancing will be followed under supervision of assigned staff at all the gates. Inside school premises too, posters, stickers illustrating all safety norms are displayed. Sanitization machines installed at reception area. All washrooms are cleaned after every 50 minutes. We have even created isolation rooms on each floor and have fully equipped infirmary as well. Similarly, in classrooms, the classrooms are disinfected and sanitized twice a day. All windows and doors are kept open for proper ventilation. Seating arrangement is also as per social distancing. Blended classroom concept is being followed to avoid crowding within classrooms. Even activity classes are conducted following all norms. You can have a look at how classes are being taken through this video.
Test between primary, secondary and tertiary means. So you might be knowing that Heansberg test, that is an important test. We can distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary amines, and Heansberg reagent that is known as benzene sulfonide chloride. So if we do test with this, then we can distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary amines. How will they react? Primary, they will combine with benzene sulfonide chloride to form a yellow precipitate.
So as you can see, and even the canteen is not operational right now to avoid children getting there and eating something from outside. There is a question in the chat box wherein the parent wants more clarity on how we are planning to conduct classes offline. Indu ma'am, kindly give some clarity to our parents on what is exactly blended learning and how are we going to implement it in school.
Okay. Actually, blended learning or hybrid mode is a combination of offline and online classes where students interact with the teachers and other students through both a physical classroom and an online platform simultaneously. The goal of blended learning is to meet the needs of the students for a more efficient, interesting, and personalized education. In this model, the student studies a certain topic at home with the help of technology and goes to the classroom, prepares to debate, discuss his doubts, contribute with ideas, and thus exercise an active role in the classroom, being a transmitter of knowledge, not just a receiver. With blended learning, teachers can visualize and track each child's progress. This process can make it easier to identify signs of a student struggling or educational strengths and act upon it accordingly. It helps to improve social aspects of students, enhance retention, encourages self-learning where students are forced to look for information online independently. Specifically, skills like relating well with others, time management, critical thinking, collaborative working are nurtured in a blended model. So, I mean, this being said, technology advancement cannot replace human interaction. Learners need basic guidance and a sense of context, direction to interpret online lessons, which only a human instructor can provide, a teacher can provide, I would say. While it is good to have access to learning material on the move, instructor-led team learning in the confines within the physical classroom is very different. You know, in a physical classroom, I can connect better to the students. I can observe them, monitor them, guide them, which is not possible in an online class. In an online mode, children tend to relax. You know, they don't have a routine. The parents also are now occupied. They can't sit with the student throughout the class. I would agree with that also. But in a physical classroom, a teacher can do all those things. So it is a shared responsibility. The child will be doing online class one day, and the other day will be coming to the physical classroom. That's the basic model of hybrid class.
Thank you, Indu ma'am. I hope that you all must have got some clarity about this new concept. Not only for students, for staff too, as some of the parents have mentioned this in the chat box, that, you know, even for the staff, it is risky for coming to school. So proper protocols have been set and are mandatorily followed, like regular RT PCR test is being done for the staff. As the government has permitted, vaccination has been taken by the staff members as per their age, permitted age by the government. Mask, sanitization, screening at the gate, all the protocols are being followed authentically. Appropriate arrangements are there for all protection items like masks, sanitizers, pulse oximeters, thermal guns, alcohol wipes are there in school, well stocked in school. Fully equipped infirmaries there. Even in the classrooms, we've made sure that we've kept dustbins that are fully covered. The housekeeping staff is also monitored on a regular basis and strictly follow the SOPs. There is a quote by Deborah Meyer: good schools, like good societies and good families, celebrate and cherish diversity. So we have discussed about what all arrangements have been done to ensure safety of students and staff in school. And with our positive approach to start the new session, I would like to briefly let you know about the various programs being conducted in school for giving students maximum exposure and to make their learning process interesting and stress-free. Education is no longer the type we recall, like we had in school. Concept remains the same, but the ways have changed. Giving more hands-on experience, keeping a balance between curricular and co-curricular activities, nurturing children to be happy and confident by providing child-centric learning, promoting creativity, environmental sensitivity, and academic excellence. So this is because we want to inculcate a spirit of lifelong learning in our children so that they become effective change agents. In simple words, we are aiming at the overall development of the child. There has been an evolution in the education field with the rote learning pattern taking a backseat and experiential learning along with integration of subjects and multidisciplinary approach taking the forefront and even raising the success level. We follow experiential learning, which gives students a platform to explore and get hands-on experience in which in turn makes complex concepts more clear and interesting. We have upgraded our methodology and its success has been proved by the exemplary results of our children in the board exams as well as in other co-curricular activities. We have been the only school in the area to give All India CBSE rank holders in both class 10 and 12 for 2 consecutive years. Recall your school days. There were some subjects we liked, but some we totally disliked. I remember saying, why are they there in the syllabus? What benefit will we get by studying them? I think this is the most common phrase you must have used while in school, isn't it? The simple reason is that we were not taught the way we teach here today. The reason for liking or not liking a subject lies in its understanding. If we understand the subject, interest in it is developed and hence we start liking it. We use interactive learning methods to encourage learning by doing activities, and to develop their interest in learning. Creative instincts of children are stimulated with design thinking and they create new gadgets. Project-based learning, science on wheels, STEM, the full form for STEM is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education. Inculcates interest for learning in concepts on their own. Art integrated curriculum is there. Multiple disciplinary approach is practiced in school and it includes music, dance, sports, drawing, and painting. Health of utmost importance. The COVID pandemic has made all of us realize the importance of taking care of our health and living a safe life. It is weaved in the curriculum. It also focuses on community and environmental health and helps in a balanced emotional and mental growth. We all want our children to lead a balanced and happy life, and this can be achieved through self-awareness, empathy for self, family, peer, people, society, and nature. Social emotional learning, we call it SEL, helps to develop responsible decision-making and relationship skills. This boosts confidence and positivity in children, helps them develop problem-solving skills. It also strengthens emotional resilience and reduces behavioral problems and adolescent depression, which is very, very prevalent. And parents and students come to us with these problems regularly. It also inculcates social empathy and well-being. As students grow, there are behavioral changes happening in them. We too have gone through this phase. Every age has its challenges. The students and circumstances leave their impact on one's mental health. For example, this pandemic has given rise to such a lot of uncertainty. It is important to have a professional person to talk whenever in need. We at St. Anandram Jaipuria School extend our support to each student and reach out to the parents. As Steve Gustler said, emotional intelligence can be the game changer to high performance and personal leadership. It is very, very important to monitor the growth and progress of students on a regular basis. Personal and special attention is provided whenever required. Early identification and remedial education ensures that every student gets equal access to educational resources. We have experts to interact and support students and parents by giving one-to-one specialized sessions, provide 100% attention to the student and her needs with a personalized education plan. Similarly, career choice is important in senior classes and sometimes very confusing for both students and their parents. We help the student design her career profile with aptitude tests and other detailed assessments, and also help them understand new and emerging career pathways. Our career counselor has been proficient in handling scholarship applications as well. And few of our students have received scholarships such as Jeffrey Scholarship, Robertson Scholarship, and the prestigious Next Genius Scholarship. We have recently witnessed the role of technology in all the spheres. Education, which was never thought to be online, has become totally virtual in an attempt to continue a non-stop learning process. The biggest situation like this pandemic could not stop the education process. So technology and new age learning go hand in hand. We train students to use technology smartly and empower them with tech knowledge, tech know-how to become change makers of the digital age. This greatly improves collaborative, critical thinking and creativity. Children participate in global technology contests and competitions and get exposure to new age technologies. We are proud to be the recipient of certificate for being most technically advanced school in UP by National School Awards 2020. It is for the commendable victory in the upliftment of education and making children future ready. Students are given platform for experimenting and trying out new ideas. For this, St. Anandram Jaipuria School has a fully equipped state-of-art Atal Tinkering Lab for do-it-yourself learning across multiple disciplines like aeromodeling, hydraulics, mechanics, electronics, and robotics, along with programming. It encourages exploration and innovation and is an excellent platform to display tech innovation and creativity.
I guess some technical glitch has been encountered by Sonali ma'am as well. Let us give it a few minutes.
Varda, can we take the question answers from the parent who is here?
Sure, ma'am, sure. We can move on to that.
Into that also.
Yes. So, Hina ji, you may please proceed by asking the questions posted by the parents.
Yeah, sure. First of all, good afternoon, everyone. And I really thank the school for giving me this opportunity to ask questions on behalf of the parents. My first question is, ma'am, my child has been at home since long due to pandemic. There have been a lot of changes that I've been, seeing in him, a lot of behavioral changes that have been noticed in him recently. Therefore, the child has been challenged not only emotionally, but also socially. So how will the school help the children manage themselves?
Wow, that is actually an amazing question. I guess Indu ma'am will be able to answer it for us.
That's the problem. I think children are going through a lot. We don't understand that, but it is actually so. For this only reason that we have a very well-defined curriculum of socio-emotional learning. At least what is socio-emotional learning is like it's a process of developing and using social and emotional skills. So it is a skill set we use to cope with the feelings, make decisions, get along with and feel empathy for others. So it has 5 key areas that come under this. Namely, like I would say, self-awareness, identifying their own emotions, strengths, needs, self-management, managing emotions as you are saying that the child is facing so many problems, social awareness, seeing from others' perspective, relationship skills like communication, cooperation, and responsible decision making. So we have designed a curriculum keeping in mind the age group of the children. So the objective is to create a culture where children understand and respect themselves and others. This naturally leads to a more positive behavior that promotes social acceptance and enhanced communication skills also. So for this, like we have, we try to have nurture a very growth mindset where students are given positive phrases they use to foster their resilience. There are lots of ways to cultivate friendship in classroom, but one of our favorite method is through videos, creating a caring class environment to teach students to recognize feelings and emotions and learn to manage their moods. This chaotic year has created a lot of stress and anxiety for our kids. So practicing mindfulness is one activity that may alleviate anxious feelings. Cooperative learning games can promote social and relationship skills. Role play or situation cards can help them develop empathy and understand other people's feelings. Appreciation through cards, like as children often take their emotional cues from the key adults in their lives, including parents and teachers. It is important that adults manage their emotions well, remain calm, listen to child's concern, speak kindly, and reassure them. So I think we will be able to deal with the children, with the various activities that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Indu ma'am. Ma'am, would you have more questions? I believe.
Yes, I do have another question. My question says, like, my child has developed a habit of playing online games. It has really become very, very common. She wants to constantly play them even while doing regular things like eating meals or changing clothes. How could I help her?
Wow, I must say that is again a very amazing and relevant question. Most of the parents come up to us, seeking answer for the same question. I believe Kabila ma'am will be able to answer this question for us. Okay.
They could not join. I think we can answer the question.
All right, ma'am, please go ahead.
Go ahead with the online classes. Like, see, children are very techno savvy now. So they do enjoy all these video games and all, and there is a lot of action also in the video games, I would say. So they enjoy these things. So videos always have a better impact on teaching. And we realize this in our online classes also. When we used to show them videos, they used to really enjoy it. That we have seen. So that is the reason that we added so many videos to our lessons, to have a better connect with the students and give the concepts in a very playful way, I would say. So children are also very tech savvy, so they adopt all these things very fast. See, when we were taking nursery classes, I was so surprised to see children were able to handle their systems on their own independently, They could mute, unmute, do everything. Initially, the parents used to sit, but later on, they did not need any help there. So they could do everything on their own. So that was the main objective, but now I feel, they need a blend of both. With lot of online games, what happens, there is no physical activity. And as you said before also, children get disturbed, we don't understand these things, but actually it is very difficult for the child also because they have a lot of energy which needs to be channelized. And with the online classes, they're sitting at one place for so long, it becomes very difficult for the child also to adapt to the schedule. So we have to change the patterns there, I feel. And for online, if they're playing a lot of online games, we need to check them, guide them, set a timetable, set a schedule, which the child should start following. That is needed, I think. Any other thing that, Vardha, you would like to add to this?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Indu ma'am.
I would really request Principal ma'am to have a closing remark. I request ma'am to have a closing remark.
We would be pleased to have that.
Ma'am, please, we would request you to close the session with your thought.
Thank you so much, Indu, Vardha, and the entire team who's been taking the webinar. But My eyes have only been on the chat box and the question answers, which have been regularly being posted by the parents, and it's difficult for me to take all of them, but I think the statement that I will give from this platform will able to satisfy some of them. We all understand, that physical classes are extremely important, as it improves personalized learning. Indu ma'am has spoken about how important peer relationship, brings in self-discipline, reduces the feeling of anxiety, depression, because after all, we all are social people, and we want to, one wants to come to school is also about socializing with your friends. Uh, um, when we started opening the school for class 9, 10, 11, 12, believe me, we had very few parents who actually gave a consent, of sending their children to the school. Initially, in fact, we had planned to open it before Diwali, and because of some reason, we felt that the parents' consent was higher, but actually the children who came, were very, 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 very less. So, but slowly and gradually, after Diwali, in fact, after winter break, we felt that we tried to open the school again. And of course, there were directives also from the CBSE, because the board exams are there, and keeping all the protocols in place, we were able to open the school. And you will be surprised that slowly and gradually, now we are running the school for class 9 to 12, and in a full capacity, because with parents I'm also a mother, and I can understand that being anxious, it's very natural, because this pandemic, it has been, it had been had been at unprecedented times, or we don't know what is going to happen the next day. So there's so much of uncertainty. And all the questions that you have placed, I know you all know that physical classes are extremely important, but I know your concern that you are also very worried about safety and security of your children. Now, a lot of parents are asking that can't we wait till July to open the classes? So you need to understand that we have waited the whole year, for open. So there is actually the right time would be the time in which we open the school. I want to reassure you over here that I did have a chat with the WHO head, and he said that for younger children, in fact, though there was a statement also being issued by WHO, though still, I'm still not too sure, but there was a statement being issued that that the younger children, the probability of having COVID is very, 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 very less. But since the virus is so infectious, and any child who has a lower immunity might get it. So we do understand all these things, but you also need to understand that slowly and gradually, remember first few months, we were all locked into our houses, and we were so scared of even coming out of the houses. I came to school after 6 months, and I have now been in school for past 6 months. I've been working from my school office from past 6 months. So I think what is required is that I constantly take care of my, of my hygiene, of my, the protocols. My mask is always on. It's there on my table, and I have made a kit for myself. But I understand your anxiety also, that the children are very small. They will take off their mask, and it is very difficult to make them sit in the mask. But slowly and gradually, हम सबको भी तो इन सब चीज़ों की आदत पड़ी ना. हमने भी शुरू में कभी मास्क नहीं लगाया, और and these are, a new normal. Even if Corona goes, I think for the whole year coming this year to 2021, we will be wearing, mask throughout the year. So we also got used to it. So teachers are also teaching using those masks on there. So yeah, I mean these are difficult times. We will not force you to send. Nobody can force you to send your children to the school. But I'm sure slowly and gradually, you will be able to develop that faith, and I'm sure the things are going to improve. And that's the reason why, as of now, we are planning to start from batch one. We are creating 2 batches. But having said that, even if you feel that there is a discomfort for you to sending your children, you can give an application for taking us an online class, and we are going to honor that. So that is my assurance to you. And only the parents who feel comfortable in sending your children to the school can send the children. I have sort of doctor parents with me in the school, and they came to me that, ma'am, yeah, the threat is to us or the teachers and not to the children. But yes, but we want to be, you're not understanding that even school is, we also gearing up to welcome children. So, and when the children come to school, the teachers are also under a high risk of getting infection. We are not, you are still younger parents. So we are also making sure that our teachers get vaccinated. We have given a petition to the government also that since teachers are also on the frontline warriors, they should also be vaccinated on priorities. So, but yeah, so you will get our full support. And as I told that if you give an application saying, but application will not be possible for us. You should also understand, it's a large school. मैं आज ऑफलाइन करा रहा हूँ, कल ऑनलाइन करा रहा हूँ, ऐसा बहुत मुश्किल होगा. अगर आपको नहीं लगता है, तो आप मुझको application डाल दीजिए कि मैम, I will be comfortable in sending my children in the month of July. So I will shift your children from to an offline class. Don't worry about that. That's we are going to take, but you have to intimate us in advance that this is what you want to do, so that we see. It also requires a lot of planning from the school end also. आप लोग you expect करेंगे कि मैंने सुबह मेल डाला है तो 8 बजे मेल गया है तो 11 बजे मेरा बच्चा शिफ्ट हो जाए from this. It is not possible because the teachers are in a command of the class till 2 o'clock. Even I am busy till 2. We will only see your mails only after that. So yeah, so please do inform in advance. Naveen Uppalji, because I felt that you're very, very anxious. I think we can have one-to-one meeting with you in school also. I'll be more than happy to. Yeah. So I think I want to conclude this webinar in a very, very positive manner. We have to eventually open up schools. Schools are opening up in Assam. If the situation gets little worse, which I do understand, the cases are coming up. Fortunately, not in Uttar Pradesh, but in Delhi and other states, we will take a call on that. हम ज़बरदस्ती नहीं करेंगे और हमें करना भी नहीं है, because हम लोग अगर बच्चों को स्कूल में बुलाते हैं तो वो हमारी responsibility है to make sure that SOPs are in place. But school is not responsible if any child gets an infection. When you're driving on a road, you take all precautions to drive safely. You have got a driving license and everything. You follow all rules. Yet, it could be some. So I just hope and wish that we do not come into a situation where, but yes, in case it is. So it is also very, very important for a parent to monitor its child's health at home, and teach their children, and inculcate these hygiene practices, not only during this pandemic, but otherwise also, I think, which is important. And as a head of the institution, running such a large school, a lot of planning is happening at our end into the school, and please be rest assured that even if you send your children to the school, we'll try to make sure that they are in a very safe environment. In case you are not comfortable, we honor your decision, and that's how we are going to move ahead. Eventually, all of us are important stakeholders in running any kind of an organization. So thank you so much for allowing me to give a closing remark, and I'm sure it must have satisfied quite a few of parents. And in case it hasn't, then I will be more than happy that if not in a group, because I'm not meeting people in group. I'm the most vulnerable here in the school. Closing, coming close to 60, so I'm most vulnerable. But I will be very happy in case any parent wants to come and meet me. You take an appointment, come and meet me. We will probably have a healthy discussion in the office. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. I hope this session has helped you clear all your doubts about this pandemic and the restarting of the school. Be positive, and together we will overcome this crisis too. I would like to thank the management for their support and our principal, Mrs. Manjurana, for her constant motivation and guidance. Thank you, Kabala ma'am, Indu ma'am, for your support and guidance. Thank you, Mrs. Hina Sharma, to take out time and be with us today. Thank you, Varda ma'am, for such a session. I would also like to thank all the parents for their participation and extend my gratitude for the back-end team, along with Vijay sir, for all their support in organizing this session. So let's reset, realign, and restart, as this is the new normal, as ma'am said. So goodbye, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you.